One of the most exciting matchups is coming up on UFC Saudi Arabia. Michael Venom Page taking on the Bullet, Sharaputdin Bullet. And I'm gonna be honest, I feel like this fight is a lot closer than people are making it out to be. Michael Venom Page moving up to the middleweight division, at least for a one-off in this fight. He's come from Bellator and now has entered the UFC. He's won one, lost one against Kevin Holland and Ian Gary, but I still think people are counting him out a bit more than he should, because Shara Magomedov at the end of the day is a striker and primarily striker, and it's going to be hard to compete with MVP in the striking, as he's already shown in the UFC. He kind of turned Ian Gary into a wrestler.
Yeah, Michael Venom Page is just such an exciting fighter, unpredictable fighter, especially with that little bounce that he's got. Explosive, fast, even at his age, being 37. But then you're up against the young, tricky striker in Shara Bullet. This is just such a good matchup for the UFC as well, on the same card as Adesanya versus Imavov. It's going to be a banger. But we got the factor of MVP coming up to 185 from 170. He is a big welterweight no matter what. Tall guy, skinny, but he's still big. And Shara as well. Big guy, so it's going to be tough to say who's going to have the edge. Shara hasn't fought the best competition so far, obviously still because he's building his way in the UFC. You could also argue maybe MVP hasn't fought the toughest competition, being in Bellator so long for his career, and then coming into the UFC just going up against Kevin Holland and then losing to Ian Gary.
Yeah, he did kind of get out-grappled by Ian Gary, but we really haven't seen that from Shara Bullet. He is kind of questionable grappling in his last couple of fights. He was like holding the fence and the ref wasn't calling it. He's fighting in the Middle East pretty much primarily, and we're seeing that again here on UFC Saudi Arabia with the double spinning back fist KO over Armen Petrosyan, which that was a clean knockout. We haven't seen MVP do that so far in the UFC, but I do feel like it's going to be hard to chin MVP because of that bounce and the rhythm that he has. He's always in and out. He's never in your face. He's either fully in range or fully out of range. He's good in the clinch. Now, both guys' grappling is questionable, but that's why I feel like this makes for a good fight, because it's probably going to be a stand-up fight, and that gives MVP a solid chance as well, because he's a great striker on the feet. We've seen that so far. I feel like he's more explosive. He's probably faster than Shara, and I mean, Shara is undefeated, so you got to take that into account. He doesn't know what it's like to lose. He's only 30 years old, and he is a natural 185er, so he's a lot bigger than MVP, but still, tit for tat on the feet. I feel like MVP can hold his own against anybody in the UFC right now.
Yeah, like you said, Shara's coming off of that great highlight win, so he's definitely carrying a good amount of momentum, being undefeated as well. MVP also coming off of a loss against Ian Gary, as mentioned, so we'll see how he's able to bounce back from that. And at this point of his career, MVP being 37, it's not like he's chasing titles. He's chasing exciting fights, fun fights, and good matchups like Shara, which is a perfect matchup for him. Ian Gary's supposed to be a good matchup too, until Ian started wrestling him and then he got destroyed. But hopefully that doesn't happen in this fight, and we see an exciting, explosive striking match.
I mean, this is kind of do or die for MVP. He's 37 years old. He's finally made it to the UFC, and he's coming off a loss against Ian Gary, who I guess is still a top contender in that welterweight division. He just came off a loss to Shavkat Rakhmonov, but MVP is still in the mix a little bit for welterweight, and if he ever wants to make a run of the title, grow his name, grow his brand even bigger, this is the opportunity in a big fight against Shara Magomedov. Prove that you can be a rising up-and-comer, a great striker in Shara, and I feel like MVP is kind of getting overlooked here. He is going into Shara's home base kind of in the Middle East, but regardless, I feel like MVP can put up a good fight here, because I do think it's going to be a striking battle, and I do think the MVP style is going to be hard for anyone, even a great striker like Shara, who hasn't flawlessly gone through his entire competition. It's not like he's putting on consistent masterclasses against everyone, so I feel like MVP definitely does have a great shot at taking this one as well.
Yeah, both guys definitely still have holes in their game, but I think one thing that's really going for MVP is just how tricky that style really is. We saw in that Kevin Holland fight. Kevin Holland, long guy, decent striker, has his own attributes, but he just couldn't handle the style of MVP and how quick he was with that bounce. And MVP is just a master with that style. He's been doing that his whole career in different sports as well. So it's definitely going to be tough for Shara to try to anticipate that and even prepare for that. And that's definitely a big factor going for him in this fight. And as well, if MVP is able to win against Shara, that's going to boost him heavily, being that Shara is an up-and-coming, undefeated fighter that a lot of people are scouting and looking out for.
Nonetheless, this is going to be an exciting fight. Both guys, exciting strikers on the feet with some big highlight reel knockouts throughout their careers. So I'm excited to see it. Let me know your guys' thoughts in the comments down below. Who do you guys think is going to win between Michael Venom Page versus Shara Magomedov? I tend to think that it's going to be a pretty close fight, closer than a lot of people think. Probably going to go the distance, or maybe someone just gets chinned. But if you guys enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like, subscribe to Punch Talk, and turn on notifications. Take care.